President Reese, members of the board. At this time, I want to bring up some individuals that have really benefited the district in a number of ways. And actually, this is a two-part series. We've had so many students that have completed their Eagle projects within the district to help recognize them. It's going to take us a couple board meetings to do that. And so I'm going to first invite Christine Hansen, who's going to represent Chaparral, if she would come forward. And then as our individual principals are going to recognize those students. So as Christine makes her way up here, I'd like to call Andrew Raymond, Jacob Fleming, and Wyatt Wolfenden up here, please.
Okay, well, good evening. I feel very short up here next to these young men. This evening, I'm very excited to recognize Wyatt and Andrew. They are, I'm proud to say, they are Chaparral Elementary alumni. These young men were Sharks at one point in time, and it's very impressive that they've taken the time to come back and to give back to our current students. So Andrew did a very nice job for us just recently. He painted several walls around our campus, as well as the stage, our entire stage in our gym area. So Andrew, we really appreciate that. And then Wyatt, I believe it was last summer, he not only raised funding for shelving, but he took our entire library storage room and just organized it. And I can tell you, it really was a need, and you did an amazing job. It still looks very nice, by the way. So thank you both for your service. We really appreciate it.
Next, I would like to invite Meilon Wong up here from Coronado Elementary. And as Meilon is making her way up here, if I could have Cole Lambenberger to come forward.
Thank you. We are so proud of Cole and how he has done so much for Coronado, both inside and out. On the outside, he helped us repaint our numbers so that when we had our fire drills, the kids would all know where to line up. So it really helped us to have a very safe campus. On the inside, he did a great job with him and his family and friends to revamp and redesign and make our staff lounge look beautiful. And so it was so wonderful to be able to come in after a hot summer and be able to have a beautiful place to have lunch. And Cole did so many great things, and we were so glad that he was able to put several different projects together to just kind of spark up the entire campus. He learned some new skills with making some beautiful frames for our conference room, which we didn't have anything to put in there, and everybody still, people say, oh, look at those are really awesome. And we have to explain that it was an Eagle project, and we're just really, really glad to have a legacy of some beautiful things on our campus. So thank you so much for your leadership and your hard work in the middle of the summer. So thank you very much.
I would like to call up Principal Rosenhood from Higley High School. And making her way up here, Nathan Natras.
All right. Nate is one of our seniors, and we have benefited tremendously from the work of the Eagle Scouts over the last couple of years. But Nate's project, we've painted probably 65% of the campus this year with volunteers and a lot of labors of love. And one of the things we wanted to do was have a place where our special education students who had previously had a painting on the wall could work and be recognized. And Nate built huge troughs that are planters that are now positioned in between two of our academic buildings for students to work in the Best Buddies Club with their buddies and continue to maintain a planted area. And they're so popular, I've had 3 teachers ask if he works for pay at building planters. So, thank you, Nate.
Next, I'd like to bring up Dr. Wadawa, principal at Williamsfield High School. As Dr. Wadawa makes her way up here, let's give a round of applause for Jacob Gale, who we're recognizing.
So I have the great fortune of having Jake as a sophomore on my campus. And Jake came to me last spring and said, "Hey, Dr. Watto, I need to work on this. What do you need done?" And much like Ms. Hood mentioned, there's always lots of painting needs. What makes this all remarkable is I gave him the scope of the project and gave him a time frame, and he had everybody out there. And talking with his mother later on, she said, we didn't even really know that he had it all taken care of. We were waiting to see what help he needed. And to Jake's credit, he had it organized, planned, executed, and it's beautiful. And we have very nice pillars now that don't look spotty anymore. I got more painting if you ever need some things to do on the weekends. But truly, Jake, appreciate your leadership and appreciate you. You made it a better place.
Our preschool has also benefited from some Eagle Scout work, and I'd like to call up Patty Gleason. And as Patty's making her way up here, David Clough, would you come forward? David did not make it this evening. Okay, let's give a round for David. Applause for David Clough.
But I would like to share what David did accomplish at our preschools. He is a student at Sussman Middle School, and his mother is an aide for our preschool. And I think she might have had a little bit to do with his project, but we were opening up new preschool libraries in both of the middle schools. And David wanted to fill those preschool sections with wonderful storybooks. So his project was to collect storybooks, and he raised money to buy some new books for us, and then collected lots of other storybooks, and then also soft seating for the children while they're in the library. So thanks to David, many little Spartans and little Cougars will be enjoying those books for many years to come. So we're very grateful for his service.
Last and certainly not least, I would like to call up Mr. James Walker, who's representing Sussman Middle School. And as Mr. Walker makes his way up here, Joshua Gale is here. Would you come forward?
I'm here on behalf of Mrs. Diab Scott and Mr. Keeling. One of the things that Sossaman needed, brand new campus, but the landscaping was kind of lacking, and so Joshua contacted Mrs. Diab, and he put together a plan to help landscape the courtyard and the campus. And so he got together and planned out and created a map and used the already existing irrigation system to fully landscape the campus. So we thank him for beautifying the campus and going an extra step. We appreciate it.
Parents, now's the opportunity to take pictures with the board members and your students, so please feel free to stand up and get as many pictures as you'd like. President Reese, members of the board, at this time I'd like to turn it over to Sheila Sorensen to recognize some schools and some award winners tonight.
Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. It never gets old for us to be able to spend time like this honoring our employees. Tonight we'll have Higley High School and the Higley Learning Center honor their employees and points of pride of the month. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Hood to highlight the folks that they've selected at Higley High School.
All right, and it is an honor. Each year we have one board meeting where we have the privilege of recognizing an outstanding individual in each of the sectors of our school community. So tonight we are starting with our outstanding certified staff member is Mr. Michael O'Neill. Mr. O'Neill is a AP Physics and honors chemistry teacher, as well as our student council advisor. So we keep him quite busy. Every day, is never a dull moment. And he took on student council this year for the first time and has worked really diligently to make sure it represents the broader student body, that the activities are about giving back to the community, that everybody's involved that wants to be involved, and he's done a tremendous job with that, as well as the science classroom is a better place because of Mr. O'Neill. So thank you. Yes, stay up here.
I do? Awesome.
And our outstanding student is Nate Natras. I said this is the night for Nate. Right on. See? Nate is a senior at Higley High School, and he came, this is his third year. He came in as a sophomore and hadn't played football, I don't think. Went out to get to know people, but in a time when people don't want to try anything new and are apprehensive about maybe I'm going to fail, Nate dives right in. He is respected and respectful and kind to other people and incredibly bright. But he is exactly what we want the Higley Knights to represent. So we are honored. He is part of Higley's campus. He is on our men's volleyball team. First time he's ever played as a senior, made the team. Nothing but Nate, right? So he'll be leaving this summer on his mission. We wish him the best. He's a tremendous student and a great reflection, and I'm honored that you are part of Higley. Thank you. And our volunteer this year is Mrs. Brooke Garrett. Yes. We have had the good fortune of having a group of parents this year that really rallied around. We had one Saturday morning at 6 a.m., 120 people show up to paint our gym, all volunteer. And there's been a core group of individuals that have really, in every aspect, divided up the tasks, taken it on. They kept saying, "No, we can get the people power. You don't have to worry about this. Tell us what to do." And Brooke has been over the hallways, highways, and byways, and negotiating the painting and organizing the projects. And I have great respect for her, not only as a volunteer, but as a parent and an individual. She is honest, upfront, always problem solving, seeking solutions, concerned beyond her own students, and really vested in what is in the best interest of Higley as a school community and what will make our school the best comprehensive environment for students. So her family's here. Dr. Garrett Carter is our freshman, and we have several others coming through as Higley Knights. So we are so grateful that Brooke Garrett is one of our parents and a tremendous volunteer. Thank you. And our classified employee is Margie Scott. She is our registrar of records, all things associated with that and grades. She could not come tonight. She got a new pet, and they had a mandatory appointment. But we wanted to say her name. But we are fortunate we have tremendous people in all of these areas at Higley High School, and I am fortunate and grateful for your effort and your representation. Thank you.
So while we're moving the podium and having the board members join you up there, Mr. O'Neill, do you have any family or friends here with you this evening that you'd like to introduce? We'd like to thank her too. Please introduce. Thank you for sharing him with us. And Nate, would you like to introduce your family? Thank you for sharing Nate with us. And Brooke, want to introduce your family? So thanks to the families for sharing these wonderful points of pride with us. And at this time, if Miss Kat Hughes could come up, we'll recognize the points of pride from the Higley Learning Center.
Making sure they don't fall. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, President Reese, members of the board, Dr. Thomason, cabinet, and everyone. My name is Kat Hughes. I am the administrator in charge of the Higley Learning Center. The Higley Learning Center is a small program here in Higley designed to be a non-traditional pathway for students to get their high school diploma. We've got about 60 kids over. We're on Higley High's campus, and most people don't know we exist, but we do, and we've got great things going on. So I'm excited tonight to recognize our staff member point of pride, Miss Megan Sherman. Ms. Sherman serves as our prevention and behavior specialist. She is our counselor on staff, and she goes beyond just the world of being a counselor. Right now, she's helping us serve as our attendance person. She's also backup administration when I'm off campus, and she is the glue that is holding us together every day. She's such a fabulous resource, and we are so fortunate to have her as part of our program and working with our students on a day-to-day basis and making a difference in the life of our kiddos. So congratulations, Megan. Hold on, there's a certificate. I forgot that too. Okay. And then this is the most exciting part I have for the year. We do service both Williamsfield and Higley High schools. With that being said, our students are not the ones that become the valedictorians and the ones that are speaking at graduation. So I get one moment to recognize one student who is above and beyond anything I could possibly hope for. So with that, I'd like to invite Kat Roshan up. But I have to tell you about Kat. Most high school students take 12 classes in a year. Seniors normally take 8 when they're on track. When I first met Kat, it was right before school started with her dad. And Kat had gone into Higley High's office, and they had said, well, we're going to have to schedule an appointment with Miss Hughes. And Kat, with her dad, said, you know what, is Miss Hughes available now? And they're like, I don't know. So they came down. Are you available? I was. I was impressed from the very first moment I met Kat on taking initiative in her learning and getting to her high school diploma. When Kat came to the HLC, she was in need of 20 classes to graduate, which is far more than your 8 that a normal senior would need. And she said, Miss Hughes, can I do it? I said, if you listen. I'll put you on the right path. I'd like to report that as of today, Kat has finished 18 of those 20. She is well on her way of the last 2. She has not scored less than a B in any of those classes and has asked a question that I have never been asked in alternative ed, and yes, I'm going to embarrass her by sharing it because I'm impressed. She said, "Ms. Hughes, if I finish early, can I go back and finish some of the courses I didn't do so well in an effort to improve her GPA?" And I'll tell you what, she is just a shining star and a fabulous, fabulous student. She serves on our student leadership group and has not only been a positive student, but she's been a positive role model and wonderful contributions to our little program. So congratulations, Kat. And yes, I embarrassed you. Are we doing
Kat, would you like to introduce your family to us?
And if I could have got her a bumper sticker, I was going to. It's coming. I'm getting you a bumper sticker.
Governing Board, we have one more set of employees to recognize this evening. It is the time when we do our quarterly classified employees of the month, and I will be calling up the principals this evening. We're going to start with Robert Schroep. He's going to come up and talk to us about John Yost. He's one of our IT techs. He's been with the district since August of 2015. He primarily works at Chaparral and Power Ranch, but also assists with the setup of the governing board room. Do we have him back in there tonight? So he's have to come out from the little secret room back there, from behind the curtain. Come on out, Jonathan.
I'm Robert Schroep. I'm the Assistant Director of Technology. It's my pleasure to introduce John, which Sheila already talked about him, but he's IT Tech 1 for the district. He does desktop support for the computers, laptops, and he also does the board meeting on a regular basis, which he's doing this one, providing support for the technology for this board meeting that you're at right now. So John is well deserving of this award for Support Staff of the month of January. He exemplifies customer service with excellent communication skills and great follow-up on tasks and issues. He is great at explaining the problems and solutions at the teacher's level of understanding and has created a great relationship with the teachers and staff in the district. John has brought his 9 years experience at Data Doctors to Higley and has benefited the district immensely. Recently, John has helped us recover critical data from a failed hard drive that would have otherwise cost the district thousands of dollars in recovery and man hours, and he did so in just a few hours. John is also using his knowledge from Data Doctors on iPad repair, and not only repairing the iPads for the district, but also cross-training the staff on how to replace the iPad screens and any of the damaged iPads. And this will also, in time, save the district thousands of dollars in repair costs to any outside vendors. Congratulations, John. It's well deserved.
So
Patricia.
I'm Patricia with Horseman, and we're proud to honor the awards for our non-classified employees of the month. And so I'd like to present you with your gift certificate and your recognition certificate. Muchas felicidades. And so these are January, right?
For February, I'd like to introduce Debbie Ibarra, and she's going to come up and talk to us a little bit about Camilla Sandoval. Camilla is the lead custodian at Centennial, started with the district in 2012, and still has that role. So is she also here this evening? Camilla, come on up.
Good evening. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce Camilla Sandoval, who is our lead custodian at nighttime. Just a little background on Camilla. Camilla actually has done the job at our campus since January by herself. She has done the nighttime crew. She has kept us during the daytime because we were out without a plant foreman and a day custodian for a while. This woman is tremendously a hard worker. We could not look like Centennial without Camilla. We know that. We know deep in our hearts that we owe everything that Centennial looks like because of this lady. So on behalf of all of the entire staff, we would like to say muchas gracias. Didn't do bad. Okay, come on, I tried. Give me a break, people. I tried. But honestly, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you, and we love you.
Carol is our General Education Compliance Manager. She's been in the district since 2002. She's been a health aide, she's been an attendance specialist, and in this current position since 2011.
So we're honoring her again. I said a lot last time, so I'm going to keep it short. I'm just going to say this. She was nominated by one of the registrars, and I was told by a little bird who came by my office one day that it had been the most nominations they'd ever seen for an employee. And so that really goes to show everything I said last time was all the truth. Congratulations.
Felicidades, Ms. Carol. Here you go.
So again, as we're bringing the board members up and moving the podium aside, John, is there anybody that you'd like to introduce? All right. Please stand up so we can express our gratitude for sharing John with us. Oh, jeez. Carol, did you bring anyone this evening?
I brought my husband Terry and my daughter Mace.
We'd like to say thank you for sharing Carol with us for probably way more time here than at home some days, huh? And Camilla, would you like to introduce anyone? Thank you. Okay, you probably need to scooch in, everyone.
President Reese, members of the board, we would also like to recognize Scout Troop Unit 381 for their presence here tonight. Thank you so much for being part of our program.
Upcoming events.
President Reese, members of the board, we are down to the last few weeks of the school year, and things get very hectic at this time of the year with lots of events. So coming up on April 21st, we have the Business Partners Breakfast at 7 a.m. in the district boardroom. Saturday, April 23rd, I hope everybody can make it to our Fine Arts Festival at Higley High School. It's going to be a great event with lots of fun and activities for all families. And then Wednesday, April 27th, we have the work study at 5:30 and the board meeting at 6:30. And then finally, on April 28th, we have an exciting event every year, and that's the Teacher of the Year Awards Dinner, and that's the Doubletree Elegante at 5:30 p.m. And that's it for events for the next month.
Thank you. Board comments. Anyone have any comments? All right. I think we said it all. Lots of great things happening. All right, 7.0, consent agenda.
President Reese.
Mrs. Whitener.
I move that we approve the consent agenda, items 7.1 through 7.6.
Second.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
Not this time.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
President Reese?
Yes.
At this time, I would like to recognize our site appointments for administration. At Gateway Point Elementary, we have Kathy Harris coming in as an assistant principal. Kathy, are you here? At Power Ranch Elementary, we have Michelle Coda coming in as assistant principal. And at Chaparral Elementary, we have Terry Pepper coming in as an assistant principal. And at the site level, I would also like to recognize John Dolan as the principal of Sossaman Middle School. John?
President Reese.
Mrs. Whitener.
Did they bring any family that we can clap for as well?
For those new site appointments,
Or friends?
please stand up and
Thank
recognize
you
your
for
families
coming
and
to
friends.
support. Yay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you.
Very nice.
For those families and friends that are here with your new appointees tonight, thank you very much. We appreciate you letting them stay long nights and working long hours to get the job done it takes to serve a community and a school and the families that we have within the Higley Unified School District. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's now that you're a part of our family, that's why we want to see you and know who you are. But we really mean do that. Our Higley family continues to grow, and we're excited. So thank you for all that you guys do.
All right. We don't have any old business on our agenda, so we're going to go to 9.0, action and information items. 9.1, it's an information item. The governing board gets a monthly financial report. We did receive March of 2016. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Deuce on that? All right, thank you. I know it takes time, and we appreciate it. So it gives us lots of information. Thank you.
And so do the community members who look it up online.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hold on, I'm just catching up here.
President Reese.
Mrs. Whitener.
I move that we approve and adopt amendment to policy JFABB admission of exchange and foreign students.
I'll second it.
I just had one question. Is there part of an addendum or something after? Do we need to state what the admission tuition is after the set amount of students that we accept? Or is that just something we communicate with those exchange programs once a year?
Yes, President Race, members of the board. When we did a study and looking at where Higley Unified School District was at compared to the other districts in the Southeast Valley, we did increase our rate after each high school gets 3 free foreign exchange students. And then we have J1 and V1, F1 visas. We did increase those rates to take care of some administrative costs associated with those students coming in.
I was just asking, does that need to be part of the policy or no?
It's really better not to have it.
Because then we'd have to read it every year. Okay. That was it.
Any other questions on the change in policy? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0.
One clarification, is it just first come, first serve, those available spots?
The first 3.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, 9.3. To approve the issuance of administrative contracts with benefits and pay for performance for the 2016-17 school year.
President Reese,
Mr. Little.
I move that we approve the issuance of administrative contracts with benefits and pay for performance for the 2016-17 school year.
Second.
Any questions, comments, concerns on those?
Just my one question, it just wasn't attached, but the benefits of pay for performance, it just remains as last year's benefits of pay for performance plan was?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 9.4. To approve the issuance of classified offers of employment.
President Reese,
Mrs. Whitener.
I move that the governing board approve the issuance of offers of all, sorry, I was on 9.4. Approve the issuance of
Next one.
Oh, it is different on the offers at all. Are we doing at will? Offers of employment for classified employees is presented.
Second.
Ms. Good, can we just get a clarification? Because what we have listed is our classified offers of employment. What we have on our agenda is the
all at will?
All at will. Okay.
It's implied.
The motion was read correctly as the at will. So Mrs. Whitener made the motion, Mr. Little seconded. Anyone questions, comments, concerns?
Just a quick question, President Reese.
Mr. Little.
We did the non-classified last board meeting, right?
Yes, you did the certified, which includes all certified. That would
Yeah.
include your school psychologist, your speech
Certified,
language,
that's right.
those kind of folks as well.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
9.5, to approve the agreement with Smart Schools Plus, Inc. as the service provider for current employees who elect to participate in the phased retirement option for the 2016-17 school year.
Would you like to make that motion?
I would like to make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All right, any questions on?
I just
Smart
have one
Schools?
question. At this time, how many are on there? I know that might change.
President Reese, members of the board, if I could at this time, I'd like to introduce Sandy McClellan. She's the president of Smart Schools Plus. She has a presentation she's going to walk through with us. We'll answer most of those questions. Sandy was a teacher in her former life, but I have to say that she hasn't lost her touch. She is still an excellent teacher. I have learned a great deal from Sandy over the last couple of years with our partnership with Smart Schools Plus. So go ahead, Sandy.
Thank you, Sheila. Is there a clicker to move the PowerPoint? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. It's a delight to be here for Higley Unified and to present phased retirement to you. President Reese, members of the board, Superintendent Thompson, I'm happy to share with you that I started Smart Schools Plus after I retired from elementary. As Sheila has shared, I grew up there as a teacher and a reading specialist, a principal and administrator, and after reading about the need for public and private sectors to put phased retirement programs into place, I thought this is a way I could continue to give back to the profession that I dearly love, to continue affecting students and their achievement. This is an opportunity that the district has to offer a program to retirement eligible employees in the way that they will stay here in Higley Unified rather than retire and go somewhere else, and at the same time start preparing for non-working years by increasing their gross earnings. This is a way for the district, obviously, to meet a number of their goals, which I'm going to touch upon later in this presentation, to save money in the M&O budget, to keep those people that have the institutional knowledge that you really can't afford to lose, looking at this as a way to reward those veteran employees, and a strategy certainly during this workforce and teacher shortage. The Arizona State Retirement System has some rules regarding returning to work once someone retires. They can come back and work part-time under the 2020 rule, which means they can return immediately and work no more than 19 and a half hours a week for the 20-week period. If they want to work full-time, however, they have to leave the system and have a 12-month break in service before they can come back. If they do that, they will not take a penalty to their pension. But those rules don't apply, though, if you go to work for a private non-ASRS employer. So someone could actually retire from Higley Unified and go to work at a private school, a parochial school, maybe a charter school that doesn't pay into the retirement system. They could go to work for Southwest Airlines. They're all private. They're non-ASRS employers. But so is Smart Schools Plus. We are private and we don't have anything officially to do with the retirement system. So that means that they could retire on June 30th and become our employee on July 1st, work full-time, and draw their pension without penalty. Additionally, we worked very closely with ASRS a number of years ago because we wanted to make sure that there was not any negative impact on the retirement system for any retirees who were returning to work and who were taking the place of an otherwise active contributing member. And so with ASRS, we co-authored Arizona Revised Statute 38766. That now calls for an alternate rate to be paid on behalf of any retiree who returns to work, whether they come back and work directly for the district or they come through contracted employment such as Smart Schools. And what that ACR does is it pays down the deficit portion of the, it pays down the deficit that is normally paid by an active contributing member. A portion of the active contributing member's contribution to ASRS does pay down that deficit. And when a retiree is returning to work, they're taking the place of an otherwise active contributing member who would be paying that deficit portion down. So the ACR now is equal to that deficit portion, and that is remitted on behalf of the retiree by the school district. It's important to note that ASRS is one of the strongest retirement systems in the country. It's ranked 16th in the nation by Pew Research. It's worth about $38 billion strong right now, and our public service employees are very fortunate to be a part of it because at the end of a career that doesn't pay well, at least they'll have a pension that they won't worry about outliving. So let's talk about eligibility.
President Reese,
yes.
members of the board, I would like to let you know at this time we do have 2 administrators that are looking to participate and that we fully expect to participate in the Smart Schools Plus system. One is a site principal and the other is a district administrator that we are talking with now to participate in the Smart Schools Plus system.
Thank you, Dr. Thomason. So in order for those people to be eligible and to draw their full retirement, normal retirement pension, they have to meet the rule of 80, which means it would be their age plus their years of service. Or someone can be 62 years old with 10 years of service, or age 65. That gets them to their full normal retirement. So if you think about a teacher coming out of college at age 21, by the time they've hit their 30-year mark, they can retire at 51 years old. So that's kind of what's happening in terms of looking at our retirement eligibility. I've worked really closely with Sheila Sorensen and administration to develop now a performance-based model for Higley Unified that has not been in place before. And as we talked, we realized it was really important to do something that would be consistent and fair for all employee groups, from bus driver all the way to superintendent. So we've worked to create a plan now that is going to be based on the Higley performance evaluations to make sure that the employees who participate are the treasured staff, those people that you don't want to lose. They must come in with a recommendation from their most recent principal or supervisor and maintain all the same appropriate certification and endorsements for their current position that they must maintain with Smart Schools. We also require that when they come on board with us, they provide proof of immunity or immunization for MMRs. They have all of our employees go through the DPS fingerprint clearance process. We make sure that we check through their E-Verify I-9 and other documents that we need to employ them. I've included here a sample of what this might look like for an employee earning $50,000 a year. ASRS has a formula to calculate their pension, but for an employee at their end of their career who's making $50,000, their pension benefit, if they've been in the system for 30 years of service, will be approximately $34,500. If someone is struggling and they can't make it on their 50, they're not going to be able to make it on their 34.5. So what happens is that the district has determined that Smart Schools is to pay this employee 80% of their exit salary, or their salary from Smart Schools will be $40,000, added to the pension of $34,500. They've now increased their gross earnings to $74,500 for doing the same job they were doing before at $50,000, or an increase of $24,500. And that's significant for people to be able to pay off debt or get ready for non-working years. While they're making 80% from Smart Schools, they're not going to be making the active contribution anymore to the retirement system of 11.48%. So that means really they're going to recognize about almost 91.5% of their exit salary. Plus, when you receive your pension, they don't take out Social Security or FICA benefits, which is another 7.65% savings. So that puts them at about 99% of their exit with their pension. So that's really significant for someone to enter phased retirement. For the school district, as I mentioned before, the district is going to gain budget capacity. So when you look at that same $50,000 a year employee, when they are a district employee, as you are well aware in terms of budget, it costs the district about $65,325 to employ them. The district is paying all of their payroll benefits. The district's making the ASRS matching contribution as an active member and also paying the cost of health insurance that I've estimated about $5,200. But when they retire and they come on board with Smart Schools, we now invoice the district for the $40,000 salary, and we invoice that monthly based on the number of workdays in the month and their daily rate of pay. We invoice then for the same payroll benefit costs, but you can see those costs have dropped because it's based on a lower salary amount. We have a 4% service fee, and that's 4% of the $40,000. That takes care of the Smart Schools overhead and operating costs to run a business. The district is no longer making the contribution to ASRS because these people have retired. However, now the district has to remit that alternate contribution rate, which is now going to be 9.47% instead of the 11.48. So you can see the difference in the contribution to the retirement system. And Higley Unified does not pay for health insurance for retirees. It now costs the district just about $49,000 to keep that same employee that they were spending $65,000 on, or a savings of a little bit over 25%. So those are the hard numbers. There's a lot of soft factors that go into this, and that regard is all about teacher shortages and retention. We know what's happening with our younger staff turning over at a rapid rate. Our millennials are not staying in the workforce as long as we would like. A third of our new teachers in Arizona are leaving within a 2-year period. The last research that I had showed that every time a new teacher leaves us after the first year, it's a loss of about $13,500 in recruitment and training. If they stay 3 years, it's a loss of $50,000. So for the district to retain a veteran employee that you've already trained is a return on your investment. They've proven their loyalty, they've proven their dedication and commitment to the community here in Higley Unified. Everything that they currently do will continue. The expectations stay the same. While we issue them their contract and they get their paychecks from us and their W-2 from us, they are still to follow all district guidelines and policies that are established for their employee classification in the district. They'll still be evaluated by their current supervisor or principal according to the Higley Unified Evaluation Tool, and that is actually stated in the service agreement. And we want them to continue to impact the community in a positive way and help these young people, mentor them and take them under their wings, because that's that succession planning and leadership. Their placement is to go right back to their current position or one for which they're qualified. They'll stay with us for 1 year only. They'll go out at 80% of their exit salary and will receive 100% of any pay for performance or stipends. And Higley will remit the ACR on behalf of the retiree, because the retiree will not receive any direct benefit from receiving that. In other words, they won't receive any more years of credited service with the retirement system. Then after that year, they have the opportunity to be reemployed by the district. There is no guarantee, though, and it's up to the district's discretion and availability of position. The same criteria for their initial participation will be considered for rehire, and the district will determine what their compensation level will be according to the hiring schedule and formula that's in place for the appropriate employment group. And whatever that salary will be less 1/2 of what the alternate contribution rate will be. And I think, that's probably how this all will work. And I took the liberty of looking at the goals that the board has established to show you that the data from ASRS supports ASRS employers continuing the practice of hiring retirees through the return to work option. They have generated $78 million back to the trust since that ACR has been enacted. And I think I've kind of hit a lot of this for you. This is a financial and emotional benefit as well. It's hard when you're a giver and in this system to just walk away after 25 or 30 years of service. So phased retirement helps to prepare people to get ready for that immediate departure. And this is also a very creative partnership with the private sector, as well as a way to help the districts develop succession planning models, especially for some key leadership positions. So I'm happy to entertain any questions, and I know that Sheila is as well. And thank you so much.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you. That was a great presentation.
Thank you. I hope I was able to shed some light on this for you all.
No,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we do have, obviously, a new board member tonight, and so it's very helpful information, all in one nice package for that, so we appreciate that.
Right. And I really want to commend the administrative team because they really worked diligently to take care of some of the very specific items that we worked through. So thank you, Mike, and thank you, Sheila. I appreciate it.
One question, is it just the district's choice, or is it the Smart Schools policy or contract that employee does follow the district evaluation tool, whatever that is?
As a former educator, I feel real strongly that we could come in and do an evaluation, but we are in over 100 districts throughout the state, and we feel that it's the district standards that need to be met for each of these
So that is
employees.
a Smart Schools policy, that you
And-
will follow the...
And that's how we've worked to develop our program over time as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. Why is the SSR plus, the Smart Schools Plus salary at 80% of their salary before retirement?
The district has determined that offered amount. It's still very incentivizing for the employee, and the district gains budget capacity through that offered amount, which was about 25% on the example that I shared.
So we would have a total of 2 employees using this program?
At this time, we have 2 administrators. We could have other employees. We have 2 administrators that have shown an interest in going on Smart Schools Plus, but we may have other employees in the future or within the next couple of weeks that may show an interest after tonight's presentation and more understanding of the Smart Schools Plus system. We may have others that would like to participate in the plan.
Now, Smart Schools Plus it's not different, it's the same. We refer to it as Smart Schools, correct?
That's our
Okay, I'm just
yes.
making sure the plus is not a different.
No.
President Reese, Mr. Little, Sandy's going to come back and do some informational meetings with all of our employees to give a similar presentation that she did to you this evening for those employees that are at that point of being eligible for retirement.
Well, and we've had employees on Smart Schools since
For a number of years. Yeah. But we've never had a formalized program before, so that's where the district is to be commended that we were able to work together to create that fair and consistent program.
Thank you. Perfect. Any other questions? No. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
information. All right. So if we don't have any other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0. All right. 9.6. Hold on. I'm getting there.
President Reese.
Mrs. Whitener. Is that you? Yeah.
I move that we adopt and support the corrective action plan for OCR complaint -08-14-259. I don't know if you want to read the.
Yeah.
Second.
I'm going to stay up for a second. All right. Okay, so we have the motion and a second. So it is in September of 2014, the district received a complaint from the Office of Civil Rights regarding the accessibility of its website for persons with disability. In January of 2015, the district submitted a corrective action plan to the OCR to address the complaint. From January of 2015 to November of 2015, the district worked with the Office of Civil Rights and attorneys from the Law Office of Udall-Shumway to revise the corrective action plan after the Office of Civil Rights required an external audit of the district's website. In December of 2015, the district submitted a final corrective action plan with the Office of Civil Rights, approved and accepted in March of 2016. The Office of Civil Rights approved the corrective action plan, which requires the governing board also approve the corrective action plan and implement the the timelines contained therein. So it was a lengthy process, and we appreciate everyone going on. The corrective action plan does show changes to our website to accommodate the concern and the complaint and the timelines that we need to do that in. So, any other questions? I know we've all had a chance to read through it.
What was the specific issue with the website?
President Reese, Mr. Little, the issue was that people, particularly with a visual disability, could not see all of the links that we had. And if they clicked on the link and it talked to them verbally to say what it was, that always that wasn't an accurate depiction of what that link really was. That sort of is what started it. But from there, because we had to conduct the external audit, there were additional things that were found that relate to how we tag items and things that we upload that are PDFs that aren't readable with software that people with disabilities can download on their computer. So it turned into a much larger issue than the initial concern.
Yeah, and we do know how much you can't put the cost on that because all the internal hours that we're doing that. Is it a requirement by the state? I mean, so every school district has gone through this, and every school district has compliant software?
No. It is just when an individual decides to pick your website and do a little check and complains, then the complaint is issued. So that I know of, there are about 2 to 3 other districts in the valley that got the same complaint at the same time from the same individual, just out there sort of doing some fishing, and they've all had to go through a similar process. Luckily, most of those districts have used the same law firm, and so they've learned through trial and error, and we haven't had to totally reinvent the wheel. There are a couple districts who went before us and had to develop policy and procedure that they've been able to share with us.
And I just know how cumbersome and how much time it took. And it's not that anyone is here to say we don't want everyone to have access to our website, but I mean, we can't even upgrade our website because lack of funds. And this did cost the district a lot of manpower hours, and it would be nice to have a smooth running, operable, brand new website, and we can't even do that, especially during the time of budget cuts and then the extra cuts we took on last year. So you say for the complaint was rectified, and we appreciate all those who did that.
And I'd just like to take a minute to give public props to Carlos Espinoza, our web developer. He took it upon himself to get some certification so that he could be qualified to do some of the audits himself. OCR was initially saying that we didn't have anybody that was qualified at the level that they wanted to, even though he could do exactly everything they were asking for. They wanted this little certificate to go along with it. So Carlos did that, and literally has become a full-time job for him for a little time period there. Luckily, we're on the downside of it, but he was amazing throughout this process.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions, discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right, 9.7.
President Reese.
Mrs. Whitener.
I move that the governing board adopts a resolution to sell school improvement bonds in the amount currently estimated not to exceed $25,785,000. The $25,785 school improvement bonds are for school improvement per the November 2013 bond election.
I'll second.
Would anyone like?
I know I sent an email and we got some clarification on what the bonds are being used for. Can you kind of go over that?
Absolutely. President Reese, members of the board, I do have Mike LaValle from Stifel here tonight to answer any questions for you. But those improvements that we're looking at are exactly those that were stated in the bond pamphlet that was passed by the community voters in 2013. And we're still looking at the same improvements, facilities improvements. We need some buses. It's paying for part of the new school at the Bridges. We're taking a look at technology needs and technology upgrades within the district. It's the same things that we have been looking at from the bond that was stated in the pamphlet for 2013 is the same things we're looking at this time.
And fairly soon as we're doing this, can we get more specifics what the cost? I know that we were provided information, roof repairs, paint, AC, like you said, buses, technology upgrades, repairing and replacing carpet, things like that.
Absolutely. President Reese, members of the board, what I would do is I would ask Dr. Fowler for those items in his area to come forward and give us costs for the roof repairs that we have, the painting that we're looking at, the carpet needs. If it's a transportation issue, I would ask Josh Crosby to come and present to the board on the cost of the new buses. Depending on which area we're looking at, if it's a technology area, I would ask Chuck Kelly, Director of Information Technology Services, to come forward and give us a report on those costs also.
That would be great. That was a conversation that Mr. Witovich had with me prior to leaving, asking, we're selling a lot of money in bonds and we have a lot to do, don't get me wrong. He was just wanting some type of breakdown on the cost of the items. So
absolutely.
And as all those things come forward, they will come to the board for approval of those dollar amounts. What are the interest rates looking at right now? That's always the best question.
Let me shake my magic 8-ball here. Madam President, members of the board, for the record, I'm Mike LaValle with Stifel Nicholas, Managing Director. It's a pleasure to be back before you. To answer your question, Ms. Whitener, rates are probably going to be south of 4%, maybe even, well, this is a 20-year repayment, probably in the low 3s right now. Now, I say that's an estimate. We're looking to lock in rates probably the first or second week of May. On the calendar, there's a few more steps with your permission this evening, getting ratings, things of that nature, printing in the offering statement that goes out to all the investors. But once we're ready to go, we're looking to lock in rates in May. And that's when we'll know exactly what the rates are. But they're going to be really small rates on the short end, 0.5%, and then out in year 20, maybe 4.5%. But the blended rate's going to be, probably in the 3s. Hopefully, as long as something doesn't happen with our market. The market does this every day, every minute, every hour. But we'll go into the market over a 2 or 3 hour period in May to lock in those rates.
Before any conventions. That would be.
When is that convention?
That would be a good time.
Yes. Okay.
So.
Yes, that would be.
I don't have any questions necessarily regarding this sale per se, but maybe if he could come back and do we have any more bonds that are callable or refinance?
I think we just refinanced most of your callable debt last year. I can take a look. I didn't bring that sheet with me. I apologize, but we can take a look. That's a great question. It's because it's really only callable debt that makes sense to refinance for savings. But I think we did most of it.
Yeah, we
President
did a
Reese,
lot
members of
last
the
year
board,
that
was completed last year at a savings to the community of over $1 million.
Yes, absolutely.
a really good rate.
Rates are still around that level, believe it or not. So hopefully this new sale will be at the similar rates.
Have you already calculated the amortized payment that would impact the budget for the coming year?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Have you already calculated the amortized yearly payment?
Oh, yes.
See how that impacts our budget?
Going into, well, this first, for next year, about $1,131,000. Again, it's an estimate because that's estimated. We're using estimated rates of 4%. Again, I'm hoping it'll be less than that.
Yeah.
So about 1.1 million hitting the tax. That's additional from this sale added to your old debt for a total of about 9.3 million, including your old debt, all your debt outstanding. So the rate would be roughly in the $1.60 range, $1.65 range per $100 of assessed value.
Well, thanks for spending another evening Oh,
It's my pleasure.
I don't know why we always put you at the end.
I know.
You know, it's, imagine
I
this.
don't know why, but maybe we should
All the awards
look at that.
presentations and then a 4-hour drive from Page or Colorado River. This is nothing. I live down not too far away. So.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Any other questions on the sale of improvement bonds? No. All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. All right. 10.0, future agenda items. We have a work study on getting an update on food service, as well as a work study on a single audit for fiscal year 2015. Anyone have any other future agenda items? I know Mr. Witovich sent you several, so if we can look at that as well.
President Ruiz, I'll work with Mr. Wodovich to make sure we get those on the future agenda items to make sure that those are covered.
Perfect. And just as we can, I know he sent you a list, so we won't. Tonight worked out well with our work study. It moved right on time. We went just a tad bit late, but it was good timing. So, all right. Well, if we don't have any other future agenda items, 11.0, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Have a good night.